So, I'm gonna be a little quieter since, when I'm recording this, it's a little later. I was originally going to also do a Roblox video tonight, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So, extra upload for tomorrow, I guess. So, last video, I reviewed the first 3 Chucky movies. In this one, I'm going to review Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Cult, and Curse. Because I would consider this the more comedic era of Chucky, except Curse, which I'll get into separately. I'm gonna get into Bride and Seed. I'm gonna split it up. Bride and Seed will be in one category. Cult will be in its own category, and Curse will also be in its own category. So starting off with Seed and Bride. Well, both of these are the most comedic films of the franchise by far, and it's really hit or miss with people. For me, I'm fine with them. It's kind of a hot take saying that you don't hate Seed of Chucky, because in all honesty, there's only one film in this franchise that I don't like, and I'll get to that one later. But I think Seed of Chucky is entertaining. It's not a good movie, but it's a fun and entertaining movie, I should say. And having Chucky in this new character, Tiffany, be the main focus of both of these films, I think was probably the best decision. Well, maybe not so in Bride, but in Seed, both of them were like the main characters, because let's be real, in Seed of Chucky, you can't really name any other characters. I mean, I know I can't. Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenn / Glenda. Those were the characters in Seed of Chucky, and they were the main focus. And while I don't think their storyline was necessarily good, nor the story in Seed of Chucky was good, but I thought they were fun. I thought it was an entertaining movie. It was a dumb, fun movie, and in all honesty, it's called Seed of Chucky. All right, that's all you need to know. It's not gonna be a good movie, at least in terms of story, because the story of Seed of Chucky is a mess. It is not very good, but it's entertaining. I personally do find it funny, but obviously it loses kind of all the horror elements, considering you get to see Chucky kind of whack it, jerk it. Goonersville for Chucky. And as for Bride of Chucky, well, I really do like the aesthetic of the film, the more gothic aesthetic. Again, some Curse, I'll get to that later. Like the gothic aesthetic for Bride of Chucky. I really do like the new addition of Tiffany, and I think this was the film that kind of perfectly balanced the horror comedy here. Definitely not as good as the first 3 films, but I do like where this film goes to. I like how it introduces more characters, specifically Tiffany, Chucky. Any scene with Chucky and Tiffany is a blast. Same with Seed, and the characters. I don't really hate the main characters in Bride of Chucky. They're just kind of meh. They're okay. They're passable. But I think both of these films, while I definitely think these are the weaker of the Brad Dourif Chucky movies, I still think there's entertainment to be found in here. But my big flaw with these 2 movies, and even with Curse and Cult, not really Curse, with these 2 movies and Cult of Chucky, is that Chucky doesn't really feel like a threat anymore, because it kind of seems like you can just easily kill him. Like, the first three films had amazing climaxes, and I don't think I really mentioned that in my review of the first three films, but the first three films had amazing climaxes. All of these are just kind of, besides Curse, they're just kind of eh. Bride was kind of neat, having it in the gravestone area, but again, Chucky's death was just eh. Not as cool as the way he died in the first three movies, which, yeah. So I guess that's one huge flaw in my opinion. And again, the major flaw with both Bride and Seed is, besides Tiffany, besides Chucky, besides Glenn/Glenda, the other characters are just kind of forgettable, and they're not really memorable at all, so. I think they're entertaining. I think Seed to Chucky is a 6 out of 10, and Bride of Chucky is like a 7 out of 10. And now for Cult and Curse. Alright, again, just like I mentioned previously, I really do like the gothic aesthetic for Curse of Chucky. Chucky's actually pretty menacing in this movie. He feels like his original trilogy counterpart, and I kind of wish they kind of stuck with this Chucky again, like we had the comedic Chucky with Bride and Seed, but then after this movie they just go back to the really comedic Chucky, which is kind of unfortunate in my opinion, because I really think this movie fucking rules. This is, in my opinion, one of my personal favorite sequels in this franchise, just because the aesthetic's cool. Nika is one of the best protagonists ever introduced in the series. Not best protagonist, one of the best characters. I would argue she's on par with Andy, in my opinion. I think she's really well done in this movie. The deaths were pretty gnarly in this, in Curse. I just really like Curse. I like the story. I'm not a too big fan of the backstory though, the new backstory for Charles Lee Ray. That just kind of makes him seem more like a creep than a killer, than a intellectual serial killer like he was portrayed in the first three films. Not too big fan of that. And the whole connection with Nika and Chucky does kind of feel forced. But really like this movie. As for Cult of Chucky, I also really do like the aesthetic. Well, the multiple Chuckies is a really cool idea. I just kind of wish they weren't so easily taken out. That kind of ruins the menacing factor that Chucky had, because Chucky was always decently durable, even for like a small doll. So it is kind of unfortunate that we get more Chuckies, but we also trade off the key characteristics that made Chucky intimidating. And I think they're funny, but again, I kind of wish they stayed with the Curse tone, because I really like the tone of Curse of Chucky. The Cult of Chucky, I think it does what it needed to do. It's a funny movie. The kills are great, and I really do like the ending. Not the ending with Andy, but the ending with Nika. Having her get possessed by Chucky. Finally having Chucky possess someone, I think, boom, perfect. Too bad the TV show kind of ruins that, but because we don't need to mention that just yet. But I think that's just, it's a cool idea having Chucky possess someone finally in the franchise. So I'll give Colts a big plus for that. There's nothing really else I really want to mention with Colt, because really I still like Colt. I would personally say it's like an 8 out of 10. Curse, I would consider Curse like a 9, maybe even a 10 out of 10, probably. This one's more of an 8 out of 10 just because I like the story. I kind of wish they stuck with the tone of Curse, and it can be a little slow at times. And I'm not talking about like the first film slower pace, because I think that felt natural. The slower pace here kind of just felt just slow. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So now, to give these movies the pumpkin rating. For Bride of Chucky, I would give it a 1.5 pumpkin rating. Because, well, it's a real hit or miss for people. I personally kind of recommend it. But just be aware that you're probably not going to get scared from this movie. But it is a fun one. Seed of Chucky. I'm going to give this a 1.5 pumpkins. Now, it's lucky that I'm even giving it anything, because I'm aware that this movie isn't really good. And I'm also aware that most people will probably not watch this. And I totally understand, because it's not a good horror movie. It's not even a good movie. But I think it's entertaining enough to just give it half a pumpkin. Curse of Chucky, obviously gonna get a 3 pumpkins. I highly recommend this one. Love the atmosphere, love the just aesthetic of this movie. Love it. Cult of Chucky will get 2 pumpkins out of 3. It's a fun movie, but it is definitely a step down from Curse, in my opinion. So that is the Chucky films talked about. Hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, that's about it. See ya.